Yes, students. So we are done with the basics of the IHT as well as we have done a few sums on the PET and CLT. We have learned how to calculate the GCA and how to calculate the tax liability in the case of the CLT students. We have studied that on the gift date how to treat the PET and how to treat the CLT, but both on the gift date only temporarily. Right? But student, I told you we are going to now start with the exemptions, and we will learn all the exemptions from our notes. So students, here are the list of the exemptions, which is where you can see that there are a few exemption, and you will have some details in the rules under that bullet points. Students, the first exemption is gift on marriage. That means that if you are gifting something on the occasion of the marriage, then you can claim the exemption of certain amount. They are not, the act is not that much harsh that they will levy the IHT if you are making this kind of genuine gifts also. So if any kind of the gift is you are giving or being received on the occasion of the marriage, right, then on that gift, if the gift is given by student a parent, then 5,000 limit is there, and you can claim the exemption of the 5,000. That means that if the gift is worth of 3,000 pound, then you will claim the exemption of the 3,000. But if the gift is 20,000 pound, then you can claim the exemption of the 5,000 pound maximum, right? So this is how students, just like this, there are other limits also. If students, suppose our ancestor or grandparents are giving us the gift, then the limit is 2500 student maximum. If the party to marriage, that means our spouse is giving us our any kind of gift, then 2500 is limit, and any other person of the occasion is giving us the gift, then 1000 is the limit. So you just have to remember these limits. In the examination you have to find out that who actually person is giving us the gift, right? So that is these gifts on marriage. Then after students, second gift is gift between the spouse, right? So students, gift between spouse, that means that gift between husband and wife, wife to husband. Student, if you remember, when we are talking about the lifetime gifts, we have seen that there is a first transfer was exempt transfer, and under that I told you that exempt transfer is nothing but a gift between husband to wife and between the spouses. Students, that's why once again I am repeating over here that any kind of transfer between husband to wife is exempt, exempt and exempt. But students, the thing is that if any of the party, that means husband is UK domiciled but the wife is not UK domiciled, right, or it's reverse, that wife is UK domiciled, right, and any of the party is UK or non-UK domiciled, this kind of scenario is there, then there are some rules, and that we are going to see. Students, as written over here, that any transfer of value between spouses or civil partners are exempt either on lifetime or on the death, right? So it's a lifetime gift or a death gift, both in both the cases it's exempt, and there is no maximum limit to these exemptions, unless, students, please remember, unless the transferor, that means donor, is UK domiciled, but the transferee, that means donee, is non-UK domiciled, then maximum exemption limit is 3,25,000, right? But students, here is the solution, is that if this kind of scenario is arising where donor is UK domiciled but donee is not UK domiciled, then still the donee, even if that donee is not UK domiciled, he or she, the donee, can opt for domicile status voluntarily. They can opt for domicile status voluntarily, and still they will have unlimited amount of the exemption limit, right? So you still can get a way out of this limit of 3,25,000 by just opting electing to be treated as UK domicile through an election to the HMRC. But students, if you are voluntarily opting for domicile status, UK domicile status, there will be other implications also, but the other implications we are not discussing right now. Just focus on this rule, and this particular rule is, students, important for the professional level students. For the fundamental level it's not that much important, right? So here we are done with the second exemptions also, students. Let's move forward to the next exemption, which is most famous exemptions in our IHT, which is annual exemption, students. Just like personal allowance, students, annual exemption works in the same way. Just like personal allowance is a fixed amount each and every person gets, and each and every year you will get. There is a maximum limit in the personal allowance also. Here also you will get every year annual allowance of £3,000, which is available, students, on a lifetime transfers only to PET as well as CLT, right? So here you will not get on the death transfer or at the time of the death. It's available on the lifetime transfers only, but here you will see that 3,000 is maximum per annum, right? Students, it may be possible, let's come over here, that it may be possible that on the initial dates of the year, that means 2019-20 is our tax year, assume that, and students, in this tax year, on the assume 1st May 2019, you made one PET worth of rupees 5,000 pound, right? And on the latter dates, 1st January 2020, you made CLT of 20,000 pound. Now you have total annual exemption amount of, students, 3,000, that is fixed per annum. How will you utilize this 3,000? It's logical that we should use this 3,000 against the CLT, because if we do not use against the CLT, then instantly on gift date directly we will have to pay the IHT at the rate of, students, how many percentage? 20 or 25 percentage, right? So it's very obvious that you will tell me that, sir, we should use the annual exemptions against the CLT and we will have tax liability reduced by that amount. But students, annual exemption amount of the 3,000 can be utilized on a chronological order. That means that the 3,000, firstly we have to utilize on the first gift of the tax year. So that's why, unfortunately, students, because of this year, because of this rule, because of simply the word chronologically, we compulsorily have to utilize this 3,000 against this PET, and we will not get any kind of currently tax advantage, because you know that in the case of the PET you don't need to pay any kind of IHT only on the gift date, right? On the gift date. So I know that it's just one kind of wastage of annual exemption amount, but still we can't do anything. Just one thing we can do is that when we are making transfers, when we are making gift, we can do that in the whatever will be the first gift of the 2019-20, we should take care that our first gift should be CLT. Right? If we are making lots of gifts, and then we should take care that our first gift should be CLT, so that if it's first gift is CLT, then we will get the annual exemption of 3,000 in the first gift, and then we will have some tax advantage over this CLT, right? So that's what they have written over, that can be available on PET and CLT in a chronological order, right? Assume that, students, and now let's learn the second rule of the annual exemption. Students, why I am focusing more on this annual exemption? Because it will be most used annual exemption among these exemptions. Marriage exemption can come in very few circumstances. Same with the case of the upcoming exemptions. Everyone have their conditions, but annual exemptions can be claimed in any kind of these scenarios, right? So assume that current year 2019-20 we have annual exemption amount of the 3000 and we have not made any kind of gift, not made any gift. That means that our 3000 of the annual exemption is never utilized during this whole tax year. That means we have this 3000 as an unused amount, unused exemption. Yes, so there is one solution, students. We can carry forward this 3000 to the next year, which is 2020-21, right? So that means that in the next year 2020-21, students, we will have two annual exemption, which is 3000 for 2020-21 as well as plus 3000, which is brought forward annual exemption from the year 2019-20. So we can say that in the year of 2021 we will have total annual exemptions of 6000. So students, what I am trying to say that if you have unused annual exemption, you can carry forward for the next year. That means that next year you will have increased annual exemption amount. So second thing also you will have to remember is that whenever you are just calculating the annual exemption, or whenever you are applying the annual exemption, students, assume that 2015-16 you are doing sum on 15-16. So you just don't need to just consider the current year annual exemption. You just also have to check in the question that is there any information given about 2014-15 year, that means previous year, right? The question may tell you that in the 2014-15 there were no gift, so you have to assume that we will once again get additional 3000 annual exemption amount, right? So I am just trying to explain you that in the sums you should consider this thing also, that what was the situation in the previous year, so that you can get the brought forward unused annual exemptions also, right? Or else what can happen, that if you are calculating 2015-16, then if there is no gift over here, then you have to remember that this will be carried forward for the next year, right? I hope this is clear. But students, let's see the rules over here, that we can carry forward the unused amount for the next year, but there is a rule that we can carry forward only and only for 1 year only. 1 year only. That means that if suppose we are talking about this scenario where 2019-20 we don't have any kind of gifts, so we have unused annual exemptions. So what we will think that we will use in the next year, which is 2020-21, and now assume that in the 2020-21 also we don't have any gift, no gift, then this 3000 will be wasted, students, totally wasted. You cannot once again carry forward it for 2021-22, right? So this is one more thing you have to consider, that while considering the annual exemption, students, you have to remember that any kind of carry forward can be done maximum for the 1 year, not more than that, right? So what will happen is that, students, let's refer from the material. So students, please see, refer the second point which is written over there. That means, sorry, third point, unused annual exemption can be carried forward for 1 year only. It can be carried forward. They are saying yes, it can be carried forward, but only for 1 year, right? But students, annual exemption of the current year must be used firstly. You have to use the current year annual exemption first, and then only any kind of brought forward annual exemption amount can be utilized, right? So that is also an additional rule, students, which you have to remember very conceptually. And what is the right last thing they have written? It is beneficial to make CLT before the patent. Yes, students, that we have seen that because of this word chronological, we should make the CLT first, so that we can utilize the annual exemption amount against this CLT, right? So yes, Let's move to the students next exemption, which is normal expenditure out of the income. This exemption is very simple, that students, if you have focused on the things that when we are talking about the gift and we are talking about the transfer of value, that means the reduction in the estate value of the donor, right? So we have also compared that there is a estate value of 10 million, then you just have 9 million, right? So, and we have also seen that most of the time IST will be levied between like father and son, father and daughter, mother and son, etc, etc. So if we are considering the gift between these two parties, then there may be possible that father have paid to the son, have given the cash to pay the school fees. Yes students, if the father is giving cash to the son to pay the school fees, then this is the gift, right? This is a gift. There is a reduction in the estate value of the father, of the donor, right? Then we can say that this is the gift and let's levy the IST. But students, here the normal expenditure out of the income exemption comes into the picture, and they say that any kind of these kind of the expenditure which is normal expenditure, and if any party is incurring the expenditure or having the expenditure for the other person, right, for this kind of normal expenditure, then that will not be considered as an gift. You just have to get it exempted, right? So there are various things like school fees, hostel fees, insurance, other any kind of students necessity expenditure, clothing expenditure. Yes, so these kind of the normal expenditure, if any person, if the father is paying for the son, then it should not be considered as an gift, students. Please remember. Now, it's a very logical, students, whatever we are telling, but still students, HMRC have put the conditions that if you want to claim this exemption as a normal expenditure out of the income, then there must be two conditions which should be fulfilled. And the conditions are, students, whatever the person is transferring or incurring the expenditure for the son, then it should be the normal expenditure, right? And it does not affect the donor's standard of living, right? So it just simply means that if you have the estate of the 10 million, you are just transferring the 1 million through any way, and you just now have the 9 million, right? So it's not reasonable that you transfer the 1 million, that means a majority or a substantial portion of your estate to your son, and now you are saying that it's a normal expenditure. No, it should be the logical as well as it should not affect your standard of living, students, right? So if both the conditions are getting fulfilled, then it's okay, you can claim this kind of the exemptions. Then after, students, the fifth exemption is the small gift exemption. So many times we transfer or gift to someone a small amount, right? So that will be get exempted, which is small gift exemptions. And there is a limit that if the person is gifting something less than 250 pound value of with the value of less than 250 pound, then it is exempt. If you transfer or gift someone of 251 pound, then it will be fully taxable, students, right? So the limit, please remember, the limit of 250 is that if it's less than or equal to 250 per recipient per tax year, then it will be totally exempted, but above 1 pound also it will be fully taxable. And the last is charity exemption. As I told you in the initial discussion also, students, that if we make the charity, if we are gifting something to the unconnected person as in simply just in charity, there will not be IST implication because we can claim the charity exemptions. And here also, students, we don't have any kind of we don't have any kind of limit of the exemption. You can claim unlimited exemptions. If let's take an example of the Bill Gates, students, he has given millions of dollars to the charity, right? So it will totally be exempted. No IST will arise in this case with the Bill Gates. So students, here we are done with the exemptions. Let's take one or two examples of these exemptions, so that how this will going to work in the practical sums. Yes students, so we were just taking up the examples of these exemptions. Assume that we have made the gift to son on occasion of marriage on 1st August 2017, which is tax year of 2017-18, and its value, transfer of value, is £25,000, then we can claim the first of all the marriage exemption of 5,000, assuming that we are the parent of that particular person. So we can claim the 5,000 exemption. Then once again students, annual exemption of current year we can first have to claim, of the current year. We are not currently thinking about the previous year. First of all we have to claim the current year exemption, which is £3,000 we are claiming currently. And now we will see that current year means 2017-18. Now we will say what is the situation in the 2016-17. In the sum students, there is no information given about the 2016-17. So we will assume that in the previous year no annual exemption have been claimed, and it's totally available. It was unused in the previous year. So we will claim over here fully 3,000 now. And what will be the chargeable amount, or GCA in this case students? £14,000 will become your GCA or chargeable amount. So this is how you have to claim the annual exemptions, and this is how you have to claim the marriage exemptions. Right? Same with the case of the students, the CLT. In the CLT also you have to just mention the annual exemptions, current year, previous year, just write up the amount. The amount is same for the both the cases. Now students, we have very well got the command over the lifetime transfers and patent CLT, and under the patent CLT we have got the command over the what will be the taxability in the case of the gift date. We have just learned everything about the gift date, right? But students, as I told you that whatever the tax implications on the gift date, we once again in both the case of the patent CLT have to see that when donor dies, if students in both the cases donor dies within 7 years, then you know that students in the case of the PET there will be IHT liability, and in the case of CLT also students there will be additional IHT arise. So now students, what we are going to discuss is that firstly that what will be the tax implication of lifetime transfer on or at the rate at death date. So first thing we need to see is that what is the difference between, what is the gap, what is the duration between gift date and death date. So if that is more than 7 years, let's suppose it's 8 years, then obviously we have to see that IHT implication, and let's assume that it's more than 7 years. Otherwise, if it's less than 7 years students, we all know that there will be no tax liability, so there will be no much kind of the implications. So if it is less than 7 years, once again students, we have to prepare a pro forma and we will have to calculate the IHT just like we have done in the PET or CLT on the gift date, right? But students, let's refer the pro forma from this material itself. Yes students, the pro forma you are seeing is that IHT on lifetime gifts at the rate of the death date, and the pro forma is the same for the PET and CLT in both the cases. Students, we have to prepare separate pro forma for each gift, right? If you have made 2 PET, then you have to prepare 2 separate pro forma for both the PET and 1 CLT, then separate pro forma for this CLT. So this whole pro forma will be based on particular one gift, only one gift. It will be based on only on one gift. So students, if you see that the pro forma is starting from the GCA, students, as I told you in the previous topics, that why I was focusing on the GCA more, because I knew that that particular GCA amount will be carried forward over here and we will going to use that GCA amount in this pro forma. So under here, under this pro forma, your pro forma will not start from transfer of value. It will going to start from the GCA. You will have the GCA of PET as well as CLT, students. In both the cases you will have the GCA. Right? Under the PET you know that the GCA is equal to chargeable amount. Right? And there are rules for the CLT also. So let's assume that we have the GCA. Then the next deduction available is fallen value relief. That's nothing but, students, if suppose you at the date of the gift your father have given the shares of worth of 50,000 pound, and now on the death date, which is after 5 years, assume that its value is 25,000 pounds. So there is major reduction in the value of your asset, right? So you can claim that the reduction is in fallen value relief. Got it? Now unused and ill-read band, students, second deduction is that once again, students, 3,25,000 total available for the tax year of 2019-20, and that 3,25,000 is full available nil-read band, but here we can claim the unused amount only. To calculate the unused amount, what we need to do, we need to deduct the GCA of CLT made in previous 7 year from the gift date, right? And this we will learn in the detail, that assume that over here your gift date is 2015 and your death date is 2020. Let's assume that, right? So what they are saying that we have to deduct the GCA of any kind of CLT made in previous 7 year from gift date. That means gift date is 2015. It's 7 years previous. If we go, then it will be approximate 2008 or 9, right? It will be 8 or 9, depend on the date. So between 2009 to 2015, students, we have to see how much CLT we have made and what are the GCAs of all these CLTs, right? It's very simple, students. This sentence is given very simple, and this the same sentence we have used in the CLT's gift at the taxability at the rate of gift. Now the more complicated sentence comes over here is that GCA of a PET, okay, for the period starting 7 years before death. Students, in the CLT, in the case of the CLT, the 7 year period was starting from gift date, but over here the 7 year period starting from the death date. That means that here the 7 year period will start from 2020, that means 2013 it will end. So we have to see that how many PETs are arising in this period, but the period is starting from 2013, but it will end on a gift date. So what is the gift date? 2015. So in this case the GCA will be considered only if the PET is made between 2013 to 2015. But here how much GCAs of the CLT will be considered? As I told you, 2009 to 2015, right? So this is the major difference between both these deductions available. And students, we will practice this thing and you will get command over here, but students, in the examination you have to without any options, you have to remember, you have to mug up this thing in anyhow, mug up these both the things anyhow. You cannot make mistakes over this thing. And just like second example I have given, that if assume that the gift date is 2005, your death date is 2007, Then what they have written is that period starting 7 year before death, that means your death date is 2007, so period will start 7 year before, that means 2000 year, right? The year of 2000 it will, the period will start but will end on the death gift date, that is gift date is 2005. So you have to consider the GC of pets made between 2000 to 2005. I know this is not a total combinedly 7 years, but still the whatever the HMRC have given in this pro forma, we have to stick to it, right? So we will learn, we will do the sums of this thing also. Then finally students, after deducting the unused amount, we will get the taxable amount, and then simply we have to apply the IHT percentage as in 40%, right? Then after students, one more exemption, one more relief we are claiming over here is the taper relief. Students, the percentage of the taper relief will be given in the examination, but how this actually works, now we are going to see, right? So, and the last deduction is IST already paid at the rate of gift date. So if we are calculating the pro forma for any kind of the pet, then it is very obvious that on the gift date we not have paid any kind of IST. So obviously if we are making pro forma for pet, then simply it will be 0. But if we are making the pro forma for the CLT, it may be possible that there will be some amount over here as an IHT already paid, right? So let's talk about the taper relief which is left, and let's take an example over here, students. Taper relief, first of all, will consider the distance or gap between the gift date, gift date and students death date. Assume in our example that our death date is 2020 and our gift date is 2015. Now in this case students, what is the difference or what is the duration between these two dates is assume 1st January. What is the difference? We can say that the difference is 5 years, right? It's obviously 2015 to 2020. Now if this duration between this gift date and the death date is more than 4 years but less than 5 years, here students, coincidentally I have taken both the dates 1st January, otherwise it may be possible that the difference between 4 years and 60 days, it may be possible. Yes, this kind of the distance or this kind of duration can come in the examination, and we can say that the duration is gap between these two dates are more than 4 years but less than 5 years, then we will claim what? We will claim the taper relief of, if it's between 4 years to 5 years, of the 40%. So whatever our IHT liability, assume that IHT, we just have to calculate IHT liability. Assume that IHT liability at the rate of 40% is, assume 4,000 pound. Then we will claim in this case the taper relief at 40%. Whatever the 40% of this 4,000, we will deduct it. Then once again we will deduct the IHT already paid at gift date. Assume that we have paid already 1,000 pound of the IHT, then the balancing amount will become your IHT payable or IHT liability now on the date of the death, student. Yes, so whatever the remaining amount will come up there. So it's very simple that student, you just need to see that how much duration is there between these two dates, and it's between 4 to 5 is 40%. You will tell me, sir, what if suppose it's between 3 years and 4 years? What if, sir, suppose between 5 years and 6 years? Students, all the percentage, all the distance will be given in the examination. Right? There will be the table of the taper relief where you can easily find the percentage available in each cases. Right? So this is how the students, the pro forma works, and students, we are going to do a few sums on this thing, and let's start with the sums over here. Yes students, so let's start with the sum. The first example we have available is that a gift to daughter, which is obviously the pet, and the gift was made on 1st August 2005, and the death date of that person is assumed that 1st September 2009, right? The GCA available of this gift, that means that students, the person after making this gift dies within 7 years, right? So whatever the tax implication on the gift date, that is a totally different thing, right? Assume that we have now available the GC of this gift, we have already calculated, we are not just now focusing on the death thing, right? On the death date student, the pro forma will start with the GCA. Assume that the GCA is 1,94,000, right? Then after, there is no information given regarding the any kind of falling value relief, so that will be ignored totally. Then after that students, it will be simply unused nil rate band, right? It will be assumed that unused nil rate band 3,25,000 available over here. Now there may be possibility that students on these particular tax date of 2009-10 is the nil rate band is different, but that will be given in the examination, that what is the nil rate band on that particular date. But let's assume that the nil rate band available is 3,25,000. Then what we need to do students, less GCA of CLT made in previous 7 years from what? From 7 years from the gift date. Right? So students, it's this thing is very simple from the gift date. Now what is the gift date? Our gift date is 1st August 2005. So 1st August 2005, and we will take the less 7 years, and whatever 1st August 2005, that means 1998 it will come. Yes, let's assume that it's 1998. So whatever in during these whole 7 years the CLTs will be there, we will directly deduct it from this figure. So assume that students, we have the GCA available of this. There was one CLT student, there was one CLT given in the examination, that whose GCA was 1,50,000, and it was made in the 5th of April 2002. So obviously this particular CLT who fall in this whole 7 years, and GCA is 150, so we have to deduct 150 from here, right? We just need to consider students the CLTs which is made during these 7 years. We have to stick to this timeline. Once again we have to deduct the GCA of pet made in previous 7 years starting from death date, yes, till gift date. That means that what is the death date, which is the death date is 1st September 2009 students. We will calculate the 7 years from here, and it will be 1st September and 2002. This is now the 7 years period is held. So here our timeline will start and it will end on a gift date, which is our gift date is 1st August 2005. So I know that students, now the timeline will end on 1st August 2005. So our timeline will be only this from 2002 to 2005. In this period of the 3 years from 2002 to 2005, if we have made any kind of the pet, during these 2 to 2002 to 2005, then we just simply have to deduct the GCA from here. Assume that we have made the pair during this period whose GCA is 50,000 pound. Then how much unused amount we have got is that 2 lakh, and 1,25,000 is the unused amount. Now this is the unused amount. How much was the total GCA, students? Total GCA was 1,94,000, out of which now we have unused nil rate band 125. So what is the balance? 125. That means 50,000 plus 75, 85, 95, which means 19. That means 69,000 of the taxable amount is arriving. So the 69,000 is the taxable amount. Students, 69,000. Now we will apply the IHT at the rate 40%. How much the IHT is coming? Let's calculate it. The IHT amount. Sorry students, I don't have the calculator, but whatever the IHT will be there, we will have to reduce the taper relief. For the taper relief, students, I told you that we have to see the difference between the gift date and death date. So students, what is the gift date in this case? In this case, the gift date is, students, 1st August 2005, and what is the death date? 1st September 2009, which is the difference is that 2005 to 2009, 2005 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and 8 to 9. I think 3 years full and 11 months are there. 3 years and 11 months. Maybe, yes, maybe. No, no students, it will be 4 years full and 1 month over. Sorry, that was my mistake. It was 4 years and yes, 1 month. So that is 4 to 5 years. So we can claim taper relief at the rate of 40%. So assume that whatever amount is coming over here, we just have to deduct the 40% from that. And as this is the case of students paid, though there is no chance of deducting the IHT already paid. So we just have to write it down 0. So whatever amount will be there, that will be the IHT payable. So students, this is the whole sum of these tax liability on the death date. We will do more sums and we will move forward with the next upcoming concepts in the later sessions. So temporarily we are ending these sessions. So thank you students.